What's happening, everyone? We're back today with another video on the ST. I get asked this quite a lot. Basically, when people bleed the brakes on these or just normal Mark 6s, they tend to have the pedal that is still spongy, and always asking how am I going to fix this. Well, today we can actually bleed the brakes through Forscan. Unfortunately, if your car's got no ABS, you will not be able to do this, but if you have got an ABS car, then you can actually use Forscan to operate the ABS pump, enabling you to bleed your brakes efficiently and correctly to the manufacturer's specification. So, a little less chat and let's get to it. So as you can see, we've got the car jacked up already, and you can see that I've got a bleed bottle connected to the actual bleed nipple itself. With Forscan, you start off with the fronts generally to bleed them off. So what I've done is I've just got all four wheels off the ground, because you actually do both wheels at the same time. So you'll do the front two at the same time and then the rear two at the same time. Once you've located your bleed nipple, what you want to do is, for my car anyway, it's a 9mm spanner. And just basically crack them off. Okay, so once you're on Forscan, now what you want to do is just wait for the car to connect. With an M327 you normally have a manual switch like mine, so once the car is ready to connect to the other modules, it will come up with the menu. As you can see, you just click yes if it has, then you flick the switch over and then click OK. Okay, now it's just going to connect to the rest of it. You can just click no, you don't have to save the profile. And on Forscan you have quite a few menus. I'm just flicking through the other ones because obviously when you connect to the car, you're in the menu that you actually need to be in, which is that little spanner icon. So once I click through the menus, we go back to the spanner icon and you will see ABS service bleed. You just want to click on that and then click the little arrow and then click OK. Switch the CAN switch back to the other position and then click OK. Okay, then obviously we've opened our bleed nipples up, so you just click OK and then press the pedal back and forth, and you're going to see on some bits that the pedal gets really hard to press and then releases, and you're going to hear the ABS pump working. It's perfectly fine. The procedure is quite a long procedure just for the front and rear alone. It has 1 to 4 cycles, so you will see me doing this quite a lot. It is normal. Just be sure to have someone standing in the engine bay with brake fluid, because it absolutely drinks it when you're doing this, because it ensures that all the air is getting out of the system. I'd say when doing this about 1 litre is fine, because we used about 3/4 of a litre and it bled through absolutely fine, so you don't need to go mental on how much you buy. But yeah, I'd definitely say just buy 1 litre of brake fluid and you should be all good to go. Tighten them up, Luke. And then it's to the rear. Now onto the rear calipers, we're just going to crack off both sides with an 8mm spanner. Once the front nipples are closed, you then open the rear ones and then click OK, and then you're just going to press and release the pedal just like before. You're going to get a bit of a leg ache on this one because the pedal does get really hard and you're going to hear the pumps a bit more noisier now. But same thing, cycles 1 to 4 and you should be all good to go once this is done. That's it, close them up. So once the rears are done, just close the nipples back up on both sides, and unfortunately you've got to go back to the front and reopen the front ones just to make sure all the air has escaped. So once you've closed the rear bleed nipples off and open the front ones, you just click OK and then OK again, and then you just press and release the pedal until all the air is removed from the calipers. You'll see it through the actual pipes itself. R1, there was no air at all. This is just a double check to make sure everything is all okay. Once you have done this and you're happy with the front, you can then stop the procedure, move on to the rears and do the same thing, and once you're happy with the rears as well, just stop the procedure again and you should be all good to go. Once you are happy and you stop the procedure, be sure to just close the nipples on the front and back, and literally that is it. You have bled your ABS system via Forscan. The brakes are going to be more efficient, less spongy, which we'll get to in the next clip. Okay, so as you can see, car is back on the ground now. Brakes are fully bled. You will need at least a litre to do this. As you can see, that was a fresh bottle literally earlier that I just bought, and it's used near enough most of the bottle. And if you look at the fluid, it doesn't look exactly the nicest either. It's quite murky and cloudy, and this car, if I'm honest with you, has had quite a few brake fluid changes in the time that I've owned it. So it's definitely worth doing the ABS side of it, because I found my pedal was quite spongy. Sort of went a quarter of the way down and nothing was really happening. I had to really sort of stamp on the brakes to get them going. So the next little test that we're going to do is just take her out for a drive, see how she feels. The pedal, just with it stationary, feels 10 times better anyway. It's really, really solid now, whereas before you could sort of feel that little bit of sponginess. So we'll take it out for a drive and hopefully give you my end result on service bleeding the brakes via Forscan. Okay, so now on the drive home, just thought I'd do a little test on the actual car itself, because we do need to sort of get into doing a bit more testing when driving after doing jobs like this. And when driving, I've found that when braking normally, like when you just have to touch the pedal slightly, about a quarter of the way I wouldn't really get nothing. So we'll just try that now. 10 times better. The car's literally nearly stopped. Such a night and day difference. Literally just have to tap the pedal and the car is literally bringing you to a standstill. Yeah, even just the slightest amount now, it is really, really instant. Like, that will give you an idea how not used to the pedal I am, because I literally just tapped it then. It wanted to literally just throw me out of the seat. 10 times better. Would definitely recommend. What I'll do is, I'm trying to find a bit of an area where there There is a bit of a gap between the car not behind me, so we'll just slam the anchors on quickly. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that's a lot better. Literally everything on the passenger seat nearly just went for a ride. So I think we've definitely solved that issue, because it was kind of sketchy at times. You'd get to a point where like you're thinking, is this going to stop? And we bled it and bled it and bled it so many times manually. So I'm quite pleased with that. I'd definitely recommend doing this. If you haven't got Forscan, you don't really need a crazy laptop to be able to do it. Just order yourself an ELM327 off eBay and download it. You can just use the extended lease for free. It lasts a few months rather than having to pay, I think it's like £10 for the year, which is quite nice. But yeah, definitely worth doing. So if you did like today's video, guys, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.